What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. This feels weird because we're brothers. I really don't want to talk this close to my brother. This is going to sound really weird, but I think your mustache is tickling your microphone. And I don't know that I'll ever be able to say that. By the way, I know my room is a mess. James, I don't know.
I don't know what's going on.
What is that disheveled?
Well, that's a blanket. And then that's my laundry I need to do tomorrow.
No, that looks like...
It is a blanket.
No, that looks like... Did you pick up a hitchhiker? Is there... Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, hitchhiker's staying with me. I've gotten so accustomed to blurring out my background when I'm on work call that I just don't care anymore. So
given that background, I would blur that out for sure. I think that's
well, I don't have virtual here, but I mean, you're my brothers. You know I'm not a mess or a sloppy person, but I guess I'm a little sloppy.
Generally you're not.
Did you say you're not a sloppy person or
usually.
You are?
Not really. This is not indicative of, am I really?
Look, I have to be very careful here, right? Because one who has kids, calling other people out, not appropriate. But I will say, you have sloppy tendencies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm down with that.
It's a good qualifier. Well, and you guys did live together a couple times, so
we did. And who was much worse, James? Me. I was much worse.
Maybe you, but neither of us were sloppy. I think we're just
What's the longest that dishes soaked? Let's put those in air quotes in the sink.
Not long. Actually, we were very good about doing dishes because we didn't want. So one of the similarities between James and I is I can't stand fruit flies. It's gross. It's weird. They get really. And so James and I don't like insects. It's not for us. So cleaning dishes, I think for me it's like a hobby. I really like to do it. I can't stand food stuck on plates. It's like one of my icks. Like,
Now, what do you do at a restaurant if the bread plate has like some schmeckel or some like dried cheese on it? Do you move past it or do you
Well, you said bread plate, right?
Yeah, so like, the appetizer plate.
Yeah, appetizer plate, but if it's a salad and it's got like some crust on there, I'm saying, hey, look, I'm not into...
Do you send it back?
Yeah, I do actually. Yeah? I'm kind of weird. Yeah, so for the most part, I don't like doing that to food because I know they'll just toss it or they'll just throw it on a fresh plate and then bring the same dish back out to you.
Right.
Oh, sorry, sir, we didn't mean... It's like, okay, all right. But
no, that was the worst French waiter impression I've ever heard.
No, that is not a French waiter. This is a French waiter. But what you must understand when you go to a place like France and they don't like their accent being made fun of.
Apparently they don't. Yeah.
No.
How many times have you been to France?
Once.
Oh, you did go to France?
Yeah. How many times have you been to France?
I went to France Avenue in Minneapolis. 50th in France.
So nunts is what I heard.
Yep.
Jeff, France, ever?
No. Remember, I've only left the U.S., I guess, when we went to Fiji and Australia. That's it.
You went to Brazil.
Oh, and Brazil. Yeah, you're right. Okay, so right. Yeah, Brazil. Sorry. Yeah, now you're reminding me. Brazil, Panama, El Salvador, Guatemala. Okay, so never mind. I have been.
Yeah, way to play Mr. Humble. Oh, I haven't really gone anywhere except for these 9 places. It's fun though.
Yeah. No, but we've never. I guess maybe said a different way. We've never been to Europe, so it's on the list. We want to do that. So
yeah, but do you say El Salvador when you're there, or do you say El Salvador? I have to know.
I mean, I can go either direction.
Okay.
Pero generalmente puedo hablar en español si quiere, pero hay mucha gente que va a decir, este baboso que no sirve su acento means this dumbass's accent is not very good, more or less. So that's what baboso means. But it's not inappropriate, So if someone calls you a baboso, they're calling you a dumbass. So
yo soy baboso.
A veces sí eres baboso, pero that means sometimes yes, sometimes you are a dumbass. That's okay.
¿Por qué?
But James, you took Spanish in school, right?
3 years in 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. So,
and Jason, you took French, right?
Unfortunately,
okay.
3 years.
I took French too. In college.
Okay.
Oh, in college.
Yeah.
Was that in Silicon Valley?
Yeah, it was actually.
Unbelievable. Silicon Valley makes a comeback again.
The worst part about like traveling to a place like I went to Costa Rica, and so they speak Spanish natively there. But the worst part about it is that you're only there for a week, and so by the time you pick up your basics, you're back on the plane home. And so,
James, you reminded me of something just now. Jason, you talked about a roller skating cutlery person before, right?
Yes, guy who was like he had sporks and was wearing plastic cutlery at the Houston Art Car Parade in 2003.
The reason I was thinking about that is, James, you said something about when you go visit a country, even if you can pick up the language fairly quickly, depending on how long you're there, it may not stick, right? Because you by the time you feel confident by the time you're leaving, but then you're leaving. And so it reminded me of, and you guys probably had less of this, but certainly roller skating parties were a big thing when I was younger. And so I think you guys may have had those too, because we had a roller rink there in our town outside of Houston. My issue was, I don't know that I ever got roller skates. I definitely didn't get roller blades. And so I think we had like maybe the Fisher Price kind of things that strap onto your shoes, you guys probably had them too, because they were probably hand-me-downs, but I never really learned how to roller skate. And so that was problematic for a roller skating birthday party, because I would spend usually the first 15 to 20 minutes of every party on the rail, like holding onto the rail, going around slowly, right? Because I'm trying not to fall on my ass or on my face, because elementary school generally, but those are times where you should be able to give other kids grace, but it doesn't happen. So I'd spend the first half of every party kind of along the rail. Meanwhile, other people are like pirouetting, like they're doing triple axel backflips, maybe not that. Right. But they're dancing around, all that stuff. And then by the end of the party, I would have enough confidence to get away from the wall. Right. And I could roller skate with a decent amount of skill. But here's the problem. What you may or may not know is that I didn't have a lot of friends growing up, and James, if you could insert some sad violin or something, some sad tuba in the
some royalty-free violin.
Royalty-free violin. Yes, we're not paying a royalty for my sadness. But
I think a cello sounds much sadder than a violin. Let's just.
Oh yes. So insert sad orchestral music.
Yeah.
I didn't go to enough parties where the roller skating ability would stick. It might be 2 or 3 months before the next party, at which point, I would repeat the cycle. I'd spend the first 15 to 20 minutes on the rail, holding on to it, again, watching other people spin around. So
it didn't help that you were screaming at the top of your lungs the whole time you're holding onto the rail, just
oh, that's great.
Is Jeff okay? Yeah. He's just getting used to the skates. What happened? Yeah. Well, he went forward and it stopped him. That's the break. We told him, take it easy.
Yeah. He's screaming because he really loves New Kids on the Block, and and the right stuff playing at full volume makes him want to scream at the top of his lungs.
That, and then probably Milli Vanilli, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
This would be late 80s, so this would be like a Debbie Gibson, Stacey Q.
Could be, yeah.
But I could just see Jeff saying, "This isn't Fame City, this is Lame City," and like kind of not being able to stop. And that's the worst part, is you can get going, but then the second you have to stop, you have to like kind of strategize. Well, am I going to hit the wall? Am I going to like spin out? That sort of thing.
Or you heard your Mojo song, which was Faith by George Michael, and tears are coming down your face. You go, I guess it would be nice If I can skate real nicely, I hope not anybody sees Jeffrey skating.
Wow. I don't remember crying as much as the way you guys are retelling these stories. So it's possible.
There is a roller skating musical called Starlight Express that had like pretty famous music from DeBarge.
What? How do you know this? Hold on a minute. Let's time out here.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Jeff. Are you going the same direction I was?
Possibly. So 3 or 4 years ago, I'm on a business trip, and I think it might have been Rapid City, South Dakota. And I vividly remember I woke up that morning and I'm flipping through the channels while I'm like, getting ready to go into the office or visit the store that I was headed to. And on VH1 Classic, they played DeBarge's "Who Is Johnny?"
Yep.
And the video. And so I called James. I think I called you. Did I text you and then call you? But anyways, I reached out to James because I said, there's only one person that will know about not only DeBarge, but it's also Ali Sheedy and Johnny Five, and in the short circuit. And James knew. I'm not saying he had the storyboards memorized, but Jason, he knew different points in the video where DeBarge would do different things.
Yeah. In the actual music video, it's a courtroom scene, if you remember, but it was intercut with scenes from the movie. So it was like he's not the judge, but he was like on the witness stand, and then they intercut it with scenes from Short Circuit, basically.
For the three of you listening to this right now, we need you all to look up "Who Is Johnny" by DeBarge. DeBarge. Okay.
Who's Johnny?
Who's Johnny? Is it who's or who is?
WHO''S. I have it on vinyl. I should know.
Oh my god!
But then isn't the chorus like "Who is Johnny"?
Yep.
See.
Yep.
We remember the song once you hear it, but the fact that you know the storyboard and the courtroom scene, like this is something else. James, I know you wanted to start out with something else to talk about. Were you going to talk about your fanaticism of DeBarge, or what's?
No, if
we're going to go there, we might as well go where you wanted to go. Because we're living in James' universe right now. Okay, absolutely. While we're here, where else do you want us to stop along the way? And before I forget, the one thing I'm curious about, Jeff, and I just want to know, because you're completely fluent in Spanish, is there a Spanish translation for the word spork? Or is it esporca?
Is that a word?
Esporca, no. No, although there was a funny video. There was a funny video where this will make sense to so you said 3 listeners, right?
Right. Thanks, Dad.
Appreciate
your support.
Let's make this math simpler. If there's 5 listeners, is it possible that one of those 5 speaks Spanish? Let's go with that. So this will fall flat to the other 4 non-Spanish speaking listeners. But Karen showed me a video one time, and it was about, a meme or something. I don't know. Again, I'm old. So she showed me some kind of newfangled technology thing, and the clip was when your cousins who are visiting from abroad want to hear a song that they've heard, but they don't speak the language, and the song was Watermelon Sugar. If you remember, watermelon sugar, watermelon sugar. And so the meme goes, it's, can you play Guárdame lechuga? Okay, Guárdame lechuga, which means keep my lettuce or guard my lettuce. And so Guárdame lechuga. So when someone is saying watermelon sugar with a heavy accent, it sounds like they're saying Guárdame lechuga. And so watch my lettuce, or watch or keep my lettuce. So I don't know how to translate spork to answer your question, but I do know that in some communities, if you say watermelon sugar, people could also think that you're saying guárdame lechuga. So watch my lettuce or protect my lettuce.
Well, there's the other one that I think you sent me, Jeff, was the guy making a request. He's like, ese es un Reebok y tu Nike. And he called into a radio show and he's like, I'm trying to ask, like, I want to hear this song, and goes through the whole thing. Could you please play it? And he's like, well, what's the song? He's like, it's a Reeboks or the Nikes. He's like, what? And it's, this is the rhythm of the night. And he's like, I just lose it.
And that song would not have been playing at the roller rink.
Yes.
But Rhythm of the Night, that particular one, was that
the DeBarge? No, the newer version is not DeBarge. The Rhythm of the Night is actually a band called, believe it or not, Corona. So the dance remix that Jason's referring to.
You're making this up.
No,
Jason,
I'm not.
Can we enter James into some kind of musical trivia thing? Who knows that there's a band named Corona?
James does. Jamie Foxx will not let James breathe. Okay. He's afraid. Jamie Foxx has incredible music knowledge as well. And so I think that James would crush him. Same thing. A lot of the musical savants have that ability to just have cataloging, musical memory. Right. So I think that they're trying to hold James down. Okay. Free James.
Okay. All right. I like it. James, Jason, you mentioned, or James, one of you mentioned, you had a vision that was unrelated to DeBarge or Short Circuit or Johnny Five.
Yeah, I've got some news. I gotta share some news with both of you.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not bad news. It's good news, but I want to get your ideas on how to basically handle this. So the last episode was 10 minutes short. Okay. And, on average, we record for an hour, typically edit it down to, originally it was like 50 minutes, but then we take too many pauses and, I have weird breathing habits or whatever. So I actually edited it between 40 and 50 minutes, but this last episode was 30 minutes. So we need to basically figure out this time around if we record a segment to kind of fill that gap in. But rather than just pick up like an empty segment of because we don't have sponsorships or anything like that, I want to run past a few ideas of basically how to fill this time and just to get your, if I should go for it or if not. The first one is right now we can just record something like that AI generated, and then we can just insert a paragraph of just like, hey, James and Jeff. So I could just type out the conversation, and then in emulator, like a Robo James or Robo Jason has the podcast to kind of have the dialogue that would be empty.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think of that first idea?
No,
yeah, I agree with Jason, but just to clarify, as I say no, you're saying that AI would take whatever we've already recorded, and then you would use a different AI tool to generate a script of sorts, and then let AI voices.
To continue the conversation, to say like, hey, here's Jeff's personality. Give me something that Jeff would talk about. And then Jason and I would comment or something. And so
what problem are you trying to solve?
To just have extra time filled in, basically. So it sounds like us, but it's not. It's us, but it's like close to us. So we don't have to get on the phone and re-record. It's not an AI podcast.
What if they're better than us? That's my...
Yeah. I'm a
oops.
little fearful.
Yeah. If Skynet takes over, we have made a wrong move somewhere along the way.
So Jeff would be the voice of Whopper in War Games, and then Jason, you would be Max from Flight of the Navigator. So you'd be like,
I thought you meant Mac, like Mac and me.
I'll be
he
Mac.
Didn't talk. Yeah, he didn't talk the whole time.
That's suitable for me. I'm Mac. So we don't AI. No,
AI,
thumbs down on that.
No, thank you.
Appreciative of it, but not for our podcast.
Yes, robot overlords. While we pray our blessings that upon taking over,
yes,
you treat us with kindness.
We support you.
Yes,
we just don't support you doing our podcast.
Yes, we just believe that this is beneath your abilities as our sentient beings.
Yeah,
correct.
I like that.
Sure.
Wait, are we sentient beings then? If they're the ones taking us over?
I don't know. I don't know what sentient means. So
me either. James, what is the word sentient?
Just conscious, aware of themselves, basically.
Oh, I'm definitely not aware of myself.
Yeah, me either. Yeah, I'm the least aware person.
Wait, does that mean self-aware? Is that what you're trying to say?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, so Johnny 5 is a sentient being. He was aware, right?
Number 5 is alive. Yep.
What did you like?
Who
to
is
be
Johnny?
Pepper 2. Yeah. Wouldn't you like to be a Pepper 2?
Yeah.
Exactly. All right. James, suggestion number 2.
I like this idea, not just because it covers us when the
podcast runs short. Yes.
So you know how there's a widget on YouTube that you can turn, you can slow things down to 0.75 or 0.5, but then you could also turn it up. So I was thinking, what if we just slowed down our conversation so it's it makes us sound like,
it's like we've had cough medicine all day.
Or we've been pulling
talking like this.
Or pulling whippets before we start recording. Just
Woo!
Time.
Well, we can they call it in the industry, so there's time stretch. That would be what this is.
What industry are you talking about?
Yeah, that's what I was going to.
The audio,
that was a weird segue.
The audio editing industry.
Well, in the industry. Why did you wink at me?
I didn't wink.
Yeah. By the way, Jason, when he says in the industry, that sounds Silicon Valley adjacent.
It totally does. Why is your blanket moving in the industry?
My blanket's moving?
That was weird.
Now it is.
Oh, okay.
The hitchhiker woke up.
Gary, go back to sleep. We're not done yet, okay?
Yikes. His name is Gary? Holy smokes.
Scary Gary. You know it.
Scary Gary.
So time stretching just stretches out the time, so it doesn't change our voices. But then there's pitch shifting, which is I would pitch you down once or twice. So it's instead of me talking like this, it would be me talking like this. So it'd be a slower but deeper, that sort of thing. So I'd sound like Buffalo Bob from...
You sound like original Homer just then, actually, is who you sounded like.
Hey, Marge.
Yeah. All of a sudden you hear Gary in the background going,
oh my...
time stretch, and you're like, no, Gary, we don't.
Wait, did Gary become Barney from The Simpsons?
Pretty much.
Jason, that was a pretty good Barney impression.
Hey, time stretch. No,
it's like Bobcat Goldthwait a little bit,
and little shades of Bobcat. Okay,
shades of Bobcat.
Okay, James. So the time stretching, pitch stretch, whatever it's called.
You're not a fan of that?
No, it seems insincere. If we're struggling to fill the content, what it likely means is that we're not as good as we think we are.
True.
Possible. Or frankly, we were overly ambitious with what the time we're trying to fill. So, it's one of those situations where, hey, if we're good 25 minutes in, then we just end on a high note and go there.
So sounds like a thumbs down for that one as well.
Yeah, I think we just keep it the same. Better concentration of content.
Is there something behind door number 3?
Yeah, I do. I have 2 more ideas, but the first one is quick.
I already don't like the fourth one. So.
You don't even know.
Yeah, let's just can that one. That one can hang out with Scary Gary in the background. Okay, we don't need.
You said you have 2 more ideas.
Yeah, but I'll be quick with them. They're kind of the same, two sides of the same coin. So
it's really like 3A and 3B if we're going to be specific.
Technical. Okay. Yeah. So I could take our funny things and make a musician out of it, make a song out of it basically, and make a beat and take something that Jason says funny, take this Barney impression and put a beat behind it. Oh, Jason's already shaking his head. No.
No.
Is that gimmicky? Is super gimmicky?
I mean, putting jingles associated with you know what I mean? Hey, we're 3 Ring Brothers, 3 Ring Circus Maximus. Ha, 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 ha. And then you hear, no. I don't want it to be, oh, man.
Like that?
Is that from Skyrim? What is that? Jeff, you need to talk about your LARPing addiction, okay? And why
you keep saying LARPing. I kind of know what that is, but I'm not 100%.
No, we totally understand.
Role playing.
Yeah, Jeff, we've seen you before in Victory Park, standing around with your cardboard sword.
Live action role playing.
That's LARPing. Yeah. Like from that movie Role Models.
Role Models. Yep.
I like how you're playing dumb, but you don't have the soundtrack to LARPing queued up. If you're LARP.
Okay. All right. So no LARPing. Okay. So James, you said you want to make Jason more musical.
Well, anybody more musical. So if we say or do something funny, I could turn it into a song just to kind of pad the time. It'd be a weird song, obviously. It'd be like create a narrative, like 10-minute audio play based on like pulling snippets of everything we've said.
Why do we need to pad the time? Why can't we just let this be a finely concentrated get together?
Or a loosely concentrated, to be honest. It doesn't have to be concentrated. Or maybe said differently, a poorly concentrated.
Okay, what we need is 10 more minutes of crap. Okay, so everybody in?
James, I feel like this is your more cowbell moment, and you are trying to get Jason and I to hear more cowbell, to get more cowbell.
Oh, you didn't bring up more cowbell.
Of course. Of course. I put my pants on one leg at a time, right? What is he?
This time I got gold records in these pants.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
All right. So James, 3A, right, to be specific, was you're going to musicify. I don't know if that's a word. Musicify Jason and I and your verbiage somehow.
So 3B would be kind of taking like one person telling a story and then just inserting like, oh, I agree with you or I disagree, like generic comments from you, me, and Jason. So it would require that we would record. So Jason, you have to record like a positive and a negative reaction.
Yes.
And then I would just edit it into like, let's say I told a story about, what I had for dinner. I know it's not the most interesting topic, but maybe it would be cool to say, oh, that's cool. So Jason, what did you think of that? And then I would insert the spot there. And then, hey, Jeff, what do you think of that?
Again, it feels insincere because it's that you're saying that to add time, we would, and I want to support you. I like this. I like the creativity. It's still, I don't know that if the problem that we're trying to solve is that the episodes aren't long enough, that either means that we've run out of things to talk about, which for what it's worth is pretty disappointing when we're only 10 episodes in, I think. That
I got nothing.
We have exhausted our feeble pea brains. But I don't think that's the case.
I really like canned vegetables.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm a cut green beans guy. Yeah. And James goes, I'm a French style green beans guy. And Jason goes, I like the ones with onions in them. Yeah. So no, I think, James, if I'm understanding you correctly, you just want to continue to make the episodes long enough, dynamic, kind of enjoyable. You want some witty repartee between us. Is that what you're hoping to get?
Yeah, and just make sure, like, if an episode is short, I think generally speaking, hey, like I think Jason's thought is, hey, I spit all over myself. I don't know why I did that. We're keeping that in. But no, Jason's thought is right. Is, hey, if it's a good 30 minutes, I mean, that's fine. We don't need to always hit the 40 to 50 minute window. Like if it's fun conversation. This last episode we had to split it into two because it went an hour and 15 minutes. But that was the one thing is, should you have one 75-minute episode that people not suffer through, or do you just split it into 2 30-minute episodes?
Split it into 2 30 minutes. It's simple.
Yeah. But then maybe give them something extra and like.
So here's I think we're kind of dodging the subject altogether. Okay. Number one, the people listening to us now, this isn't a classroom environment. We're not going to make you sit for 40 minutes. If you get everything you like out of the class for the time you listen to us, you could just leave. You could just go. We want you to come back.
If you want, just listen to my part, Jeff's part, And then you're good. You don't even have to listen to James or Jason's parts.
Then you'll never come back if you just listen to Jeff, right?
Wow.
Is that
unbelievable?
He's just totally just, oh yeah, Jeff, we'll see you next week. And then they slowly run out of the building. He's just like, all right, thanks.
That's what happened at the roller rink many times.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Jeff, the podcast is One Ring Circus Maximus. You're like, nobody wants to record with me, so here's 40 minutes of me.
We are avoiding the other part, which is, maybe we have another person join us occasionally. If we've run out of ideas, let the other person bring their ideas, because what ends up happening for a person that's not part of this, trifecta that the three of us have come up with is they're going to go, I don't know. What do you want to talk about? What do you want to talk about?
Do you want to get like really close podcasty voices where we talk really close?
What do you want to talk about?
I don't know. This feels weird because we're brothers. I really don't want to talk this close to my brother.
Is this the same as being this close in person, but like just to the side of someone's face? Like you're not looking in their face. You're just to the side, and then the three of us are trying to talk very closely to the microphone.
This is going to sound really weird, but I think your mustache is tickling your microphone, and I don't know that I'll ever be able to say that. I heard some. I think there was some whisker interference.
It's
yeah.
It's
look,
a little
I like
whiskerier around here.
Oh wow, that was terrible.
I'm sorry.
I had one more thought, and this is, James, where I really thought you were going. Because you've got quite possibly at least the Twin Cities, possibly the Midwest's largest collection of vintage and dead tech, where I was hoping that you weren't going to do is say, hey, I've got a good 8 to 10 Casio and Yamaha keyboards where I can play the demo song, or whatever those songs, how the keyboards all had a demo. Is that you weren't going to subject our 3 to 5 listeners, which, to be honest, it's probably now 2 listeners. You weren't going to subject our 2 listeners to an extended bout of and go through your whole collection.
Yeah, it's like a side segment.
Or find obscure media to record our podcast on and be like, hey guys, we got the latest episode on mini disc. Anyone interested? Nice. By the way, if you ever want to come over, I've got a Fisher 8-track player. It's going to be great. You can only skip. There's only 4 tracks on the whole thing. And you're like, well,
I had a coworker actually that had a Sony mini disc head unit in his car.
Wow.
Yeah. That's obscure.
The mini discs look like a little 3.5 floppy, right?
Yep.
Yes. Yeah. Who had a mini disc player? I had one.
Did you guys really have mini disc players?
Wow. Yeah. His MP3 is great.
Wow. So Jason.
Yes.
Let's talk about that idea. I know we've kind of bounced around an idea before of replacing, well, not James, but you and I feel really good about the three of our relationship, Jason, you and I. But, sometimes I feel like, hey, I might just want a day off. No, I wasn't kicking you out, James. You're still on the island. You're the white bread to Jason's peanut butter and
wow.
jelly.
Oh no, yeah. Hold on. I don't know how this works. This is a very interesting analogy. Yeah. Should I get really close to the microphone again? Maybe
Jason's microphone looks like Wilson.
The microphone again. It makes me very uncomfortable.
Sure, I can talk really quietly and talk about the peanut butter and white bread that we are to each other. What if we talk about okay. I agree. So James, we're all complimentary to each other, right? So you're thinking, hey, bring somebody else in. And we had kind of thought about this. What was it, Jeff, about bringing in mom, but we can't do that. So I'm sorry. It was.
Yikes.
You
Yeah,
can
we're
laugh.
gonna cut that
Come
out.
on. No,
Nope.
you gotta keep it in.
Nope. We should
Come
not.
on. Come
Oh
on.
my goodness. Wow. I thought you were going a different direction.
No,
I thought you were saying, hey, that's
thinks.
why.
That joke is dead, Jason. Ugh.
Oh, wow. Yikes.
Oh, come on.
Wow, this got dark really, really quickly. What I thought you were saying, Jason, is that this is why James got Gary the hitchhiker, because he intends for Gary to be our first, what should we call it? Not replacement brother. You're talking about an additional brother, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And then there were 4.
Right.
Yeah.
So a replacement.
Can I join your guys talking?
Yeah.
Gary, please. Yeah. Please, Gary.
Yeah. So I would say that a replacement sounds strange.
So,
but
to be clear, no mom, no Gary, the hitchhiker.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Who do you think we should have join us?
Well, look, I think we talked about this last time.
Mm-hmm.
It is your and Dad's birthdays coming up in a few weeks.
Sure.
And so what I think is, let's try it on for size by bringing Dad in the mix. So I think if we interview Dad, because when I say interview, my thought is, if we are going to look for a substitute sibling of sorts, right? Like, what did you say, James or Jason? One of you said like a stunt brother, right? Something like that.
Stunt sister, borrowed brother.
Yeah, exactly. Stunt sibling, right? Some kind of not replacement. That sounds too heavy, but an alternate, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
That person, I think we should interview them to some degree. So go ahead, Jason.
Brother on the bench.
Okay, brother on the bench.
Yeah. Sister on the. Well, you can't say sister on the side. Sister on the sidelines.
Yikes. Oh yeah. Sideline.
Sideline sister, brother on the bench.
Sideline sister, yeah, brother on the bench, or bench brother, right? Or sideline sister, yeah. Okay. No, I like that. I think that's interesting. So is your thought that if we could bring in a 4th person, then possibly we'll be like collectively like 1.5 people?
Yes, at least we'll cry laughing with Dad. So that's the one thing I'm probably excited about is to spend our birthdays together, but like also treat him. You know, the man is finally turning 50 years old. It's great. We're all excited. You know,
he's older than,
which makes my turning 45 this year problematic.
Well,
it seems like maybe there's a math issue there, but I got you.
It was a different time.
Wow.
And that's the Smucker's Jelly Man last recording.
After a long day in the field, I decided to go home. You're like, whoa, wait, where's this? Where is this?
Do you like your nuts extra creamy or chunky?
Whoa!
Wow! Why, James? Why do you always have to? I don't know what social cues or
nothing I said was dirty. I'm talking about nuts.
No, it can be it's just not appropriate.
All right.
You're a grown man who may or may not have a hitchhiker in your apartment right now.
Did somebody say not appropriate and nuts?
Gary.
Well, shut up, Gary, or else you're going back to exit 23 or whatever.
James, do you have the mag cleaner for the reel?
Wow. Oh man,
that episode with Dad is definitely going over 40 minutes. There's no way we're gonna get Dad to a hey Dad, we need to have some semblance of segments or whatever. So
wait, let's do this because I know we're almost out of time today.
Yeah,
I will come up with some questions, and I want you guys to come up with some questions. I think we need to vet this person, and we can kind of try some on with Dad. We can test some because in my mind, I don't think we should just be interviewing someone as a potential podcast. I don't want to say host, but certainly as a podcast partner of sorts. I want to know, like, hey, would they actually be a good, what did you say, Jason? Sidewalk sister or sidetrack? No.
No,
sidewalk sister, something different.
Sideline sister, or
sideline sister, not sidewalk sister.
Not a sidewalk sister. This is really
do not pick that ball up and run with it.
Look, I'm just saying.
Sideline sister.
Look, we're talking about some pretty intense stuff today. That's also very funny. But sidewalk sister, we can't do that. We can't do that.
Okay. Sideline sister,
bench brother, or
bench
sideline sister.
Sideline sister, bench brother. I think we should also consider that person in the mix just as a familial unit. So,
can you say familial again?
Familial unit?
Familial
unit? Familiar, I don't know.
Familial unit.
Guardame lechuga.
Esporca. Right. So there is no Spanish for spork.
Well, I'll Google it later, but in the moment, I don't believe there is Spanish for spork.
Why wouldn't you know that there's Spanish for spork? Spanish.
How often am I referencing sporks on a regular basis? And also, when am I referencing sporks bilingually?
I don't know. This is what it says. It is.
What's it say? Okay, it says cuchara tenedor, which means spoon fork.
Right.
That's not. But that's not a spork.
That's right. That's what I'm like. Yeah. It's cuchara tenedor.
Yeah, I don't think. Yeah, who knows?
Could you imagine explaining that to somebody who's never seen a spork, and they come bring you both, and you go,
right. No, you take these back. I just wanted the combination. What I've hoped for is the 3-part, where it's a spork with a knife with a serrated edge, so that you can cut like a knife as well.
So you can slice your cheek as you try and take a bite of that.
Absolutely, those Van Camp's pork and beans or mac and cheese,
or Vienna sausage. Just straight up. You hear Gary in the back. You got the Vienna sausages. You're like, no, Gary. Please leave James alone. Oh man.